So we have had a pump. We have had a rally. Things are going into the directions that I have stated in my previous lives. Markets are looking like they're going to be preparing themselves for some, how can I say, little games are going to be played very, very, very soon. And I want everyone to be very super cautious. Even today, they've tried to play some games, right? So I will say this. It's great that we're having a bit of a move, right? It's great that we're having a bit of a move. I said that we will be probably rallying into this rate cut, but there are some things that people are not taking notice of, and I need people to take notice. And I'm going to explain all this stuff to everyone on today. So make sure, let's try and get it to the 10,000 likes. Once we get to the 10,000, the reason why I want 10,000, I don't want anything else on that side. It's up to you guys if you give me more. Is that if you in the first like 10 minutes or something, if you get 10,000 likes, it pushes the live out more. That's the thing. For some reason, TikTok doesn't like to push my lives for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because a lot of people just they just report it all the time. So bear with me. Right, that's why I'm asking for that. Nothing more or less than that. That meme is so stuck on my head. Is crazy. Right, do we get the conversation coming in? Any of this conversation coming in? Of course not. Why would it work? Explain to me why. Why would it work? All right, just work. I just want you to work. I don't want anything else. Just work. I'm whispering now, so when it works, I know it will work. Good. So will this be the Selden news? I'm gonna give you an understanding of where I think things are going to be playing out, right? What I think is going to be moving forward, what I think is the direction of the play, what's going on. So far, the first section of my understanding of what's going to be happening has come true, right? I predicted that there was a move going up, but there are some things that are pointing towards the Fed playing around a little bit, right? And it's not necessarily to what the Fed is going to say tomorrow, is what we're currently getting from the market as we speak at this present moment. We are getting some interesting things moving on, right? We're getting some things that are pointing towards, in my humble opinion, the Fed may not continue rate cuts. That combined with what I could suspect is going to happen with Japan may cause some form of a pullback, right? And I've said many times before, by the way, I've started the stream, so if you guys want to see what's going on with my screen, go and check this out. You see, when we get to the 10,000, we get a lot more views. I appreciate it if you guys could share. I appreciate all of what is going on. And let's get the X moving, right? Okay. Now, where do I think all of this is going to go? Where do I think this is going to go? I think that we could potentially continue this rally going up. I think there is a real possibility of Bitcoin going and testing certain zones, right? I gave the two zones last time. I explained it implicitly where I think everything's going to be going. And it's pretty much going in that direction. The first section, I would say, is this area around the 98,325. Around that area there is where I think we will tap, most probably before the rate cut. I think, and I think almost, in my humble opinion, there is a certainty that he's going to do that. There's a certainty, in my opinion, that there's going to be a movement going in that direction. Now, the issue that I find is a few things that I'm seeing in the graphs and the markets at this present moment, right? What we have and what we need to be curious is that a rate cut is going to be inflationary no matter what, right? And hey, Eli, how you doing? And that push towards the rate cut that we're getting to is going to be inflationary. And I worry because of one singular thing that's happening that a lot of people are not paying attention to, and they really, really should. Currently, I think that at minimum, the 98,324 will hit. And the reason why I say that is because most of the time, when you see a move in Bitcoin, you usually get a retrace at minimum, to what I would expect being the 382 or all the way up to the 50% level, right? So if we look at the, no, I've done this the wrong way. 1 second, let's do this the other way around, right? Right. So we will get at least a minimum tap of the 98,325 because that's where it aligns perfectly with key levels on the fib. But more importantly, 50% retracement is an area where you see it over and over and over again. It is something that the graphs, funny enough, may have something to do with market makers. Let's not talk about it that way. It is this sort of 103, 104,000 level. I think that there in the coming week after the Fed is going to be an area where I would say we will potentially come and try and tap, right? Now that level there is going to be a key factor to see. The reason why I say that is because not only does it look perfectly in line with what could be described as a head and shoulders movement and that could be described as a somewhat of the end and further downward bearish movement, partly because if we look at this into the key cryptograph, where did my cryptograph go? Oh, crap, that's annoying. Let's have a look at this. Let's go. So CryptoCraft. By the way, if you guys want to check out my screen, you guys can see it in either of these two areas. If we go and check out cryptocraft.com, right? And cryptocraft.com is something that everyone who is in this industry should definitely have because it marks out the key points, key news events that this market really seems to move, right? Now, we have the FOMC meeting coming on Wednesday. Tomorrow it's going to be, look, we are all expecting, and if you look at the Fed Watch, that the rate cut is going to happen. I said it earlier in the month, and when everyone said it's not going to happen, this and the other, but I was always certain that it was going to happen, right? Because there are some serious issues in the market, especially in the US market, that is very, very prevalent. Partly and mainly unemployment and job creation. Well, not really unemployment, but job creation in general. I'm going to explain why there is a gap between unemployment and job creation, right? Now, we're going to get a Fed rate cut, which is everyone's pushing towards this bullish momentum, this real big pull move into the market. And most of the time, a rate cut is followed by some sort of bearish movement. They pull back into the markets, and then a further continuation on. Where I see that there's going to be a bit of a problem is that if we look at a week later, I think it's on the 18th, no, 19th. Yes, the Bank of Japan is going to be deciding its interest rates, right? And the reason why that's important is because there is this factor that the federal funds rate, alongside with the treasury rates, is constantly increasing. And they have this inflation problem aligned with growth problem, right? Especially now that the government has done this stimulus, this 1.7 trillion, something like that, 6 trillion stimulus that they put into the market, which short term will push companies and growth into the economy, but it will also exacerbate inflation. So there's going to be a point where I am almost certain that they're going to increase their interest rates, right? And that there will create 1.7 billion, 1.7 trillion. That there will most probably cause strain into this yen carry trade aspect, where there's this sort of trade where people take cheap loans from central banks or banks in Japan and put it into more higher yielding aspects into other economies, be it Bitcoin or crypto or even just government bonds, right? The problem is that when those rates go up, the benefit, the profit in between the two when they pay these debts off gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So what it in essence does more than the yen carry trade, because previously, if we look at the VIX, you'll see the yen carry trade was this monster, this unbelievable wick that happened here, this insanity wick that happened last year in the yen carry trade, which pushed the volatility up to what could be described as COVID periods, right? One of the most unbelievable moves in history. But I don't think something like that is going to happen because it's something that's known, right? And most of the yen carry trade has somewhat been unwound. The real issue is the fact that once this where did this go? Yeah. Once this rate goes up, Japan is the liquidity provider to the world, right? These cheap loans and liquidity that they provide, they provide it to the world. And once those rates go up, it's like, it's like in every situation. Once the central bank's interest rates go, federal funds rates go up, the cost of loan goes up, right? So less people will be taking that out and actually financing things in the world. So that will cause some form of liquidity strain in an environment where liquidity is strained at best as we see it. And I would not be surprised if we start seeing some interesting moves going into gold and various other a push into actual dollar, right? You're going to see that transaction between what we would describe as risk on assets and various other investment assets, and a more increase in the value of the dollar, most probably, right? That there will also cause a strain in risk on assets and a potential slow trickle down in highly speculative markets, which is Bitcoin, right? And even more in altcoins and this and the other. So I'm highly expecting something in the manner of a push up, possibly to test into the 98 around the Fed cut, right? Then some form of a rejection and a lower low, a higher low to perform, and then a further move up, possibly testing the lower levels of around the 104,000 level, where that 50% of the fib level goes to, and it will then bleed into where the Bank of Japan will do its cuts. Now, there is something that a lot of people are not looking into. And it's this. The UN's government bond 10-year yields are on a breakout. And they're on a breakout in the wrong way. Now, we are all expecting, and I'm expecting the Fed to continue this cutting cycle. But the more that this starts to actually move up, this 10-year yield goes up, it means that the market, the investors, the people that are looking to invest into what is in essence government debt, it shows that there is a real fear that inflation can come back. And that inflation coming back, I promise you, will stop rate cuts. And I will say this, right? Tomorrow, there are two things that are going to be more important than anything else. And the first one is the dot plot. The understanding of what they will go to, right? The understanding of what cycle of cutting that they're going to do, right? Into the market is going to be everything. And my worry is this, and this, please take this as a caveat as what I'm trying to say, right? I don't see Powell being in being the Fed chair in his last section of his term, being the Fed chair that left with inflation higher or increasing. And my problem is that if Japan cuts, and tomorrow I'm expecting a somewhat hawkish Fed FOMC. I really am. Because this hike up means that the market is fearful of inflation going up, and there is a conflict within the the Fed team as it is, the council that determines whether the rate cuts doesn't happen. And that's the thing I want everyone to understand. The dot plot is going to be everything. It's going to be everything, because what will states there, what will be the outcome of what goes on in those scenarios, and how many rate cuts will happen, and whether they hold by it, is going to be very, very important. And especially if they go into a rate cutting cycle, and we start seeing signs of inflation going up, and there is this potential of the new Fed chair coming in, who's going to be extremely dovish. I genuinely would expect Powell to maybe take his foot off the accelerator, and that taking that foot off the accelerator is going to be not very good for an economy that doesn't really have the sheer level of liquidity that we're looking for. Because if we look, there's another time this happened. Right? I'm not the biggest fan of comparing. What am I looking at? Why am I looking at that? I'm not the biggest fan of comparing previous moves, but it's sometimes good to see comparisons, right? And the only other time something like this happened, where we're coming out of a restrictive period of federal funds rate. At the same time, we're coming into a period where we have had a non-euphoric top to Bitcoin, where alt have moved. It's 2019, all the way back here, right? And what happened there is very similar. We had this move back up, not as aggressively obvious as what's going on here, but if we look, we had to move back up, and it wasn't able to regain its previous all-time high, right? Because of the lack of liquidity, because of these fears of inflation, because of what the Fed did, which was a pause. When a Fed does a pause, it usually indicates a further downward trickle in the price. But I'm going to give a lot of caveats and buts here, right? Because I like buts and I cannot lie, and you should do the same as well, whichever flavor you like. Yeah, I'll stick by that, right? Is this because we haven't had a non-euphoric high, right? I'll stick by that, all right? Wasn't my best. I'm getting there, all right? Is this because we've had a non-euphoric high? Because we're coming off a period of sort of this immobility of liquidity. I like the rhyme. Because we're having these scenarios where there's certain factors in our industry that is looking to grow and gain more acceptance in everyday real world life. Because we're seeing a whole bunch of this kind of stuff, we're going into an environment where we will get to real levels of liquidity, real levels of growth, real scenario where we will see what happened after 2019. Because if we're going to be looking at some levels of, it's not exactly the same, but let's just zoom in. You see this pull back down as we see, and we see a little bump, and then a further pull back into the next cycle. But I will say this, right? And this lasted about 6 months. This move from the little pump, the counter rally up to this point, and then a bleed down, right? I will say this also. We will most probably get further counter rallies going on throughout this year. You'll get certain coins getting all the liquidity, because at the moment we're cycling liquidity, as I showed you in the previous lives. That new liquidity coming from dollar into the USDT is reducing. It's slowing down. You could also see that by the fact that if you look at daily exchange volume, this is also tapering off. So this new level of liquidity coming in is not there. Speculators are going. But when speculators go, right, you're primed to be in a scenario where you will get to a point where the next move will be something like this, like the 2021 move, right? Because if we look carefully, Bitcoin, even if it gets to this area, we're kind of like getting to last year's. We're getting to the where Bitcoin was last year, right? Around the November, December time, and that there will cause what I will best describe is investor fatigue. People will get to a point where they'll say, "Oh, look, nothing's going on," and it will be a slow drip down. But that doesn't mean you can't utilize it and play the markets and use it and find good entry points. Because once this thing really bottoms out, you're going to be in an environment where things will have the absolute maximum possibility of move. So I would say this for the people that are here, the people who are sitting and still trying to see what the next move is, what the next play is, what's the next alpha and all that kind of stuff, right? Is this. Be interested when times are bad, not the other way around. Because I'll say this to you, right? I'll ask you this question. Why is everyone super interested in buying Bitcoin and everything else when it's at all-time high, but not when it's pulling back and it's at its low? This is what I'm trying to explain everyone to understand. We're in this environment right now, FOMO, right? But everyone that actually plays, actually really, all of this sell-off that you're seeing are people that bought down here when things were bad. Everything was over, right? This is the thing that everyone always forgets about this scenario. Don't forget Trump's live this afternoon. What is this? What's Trump's live? Oh my God, I can't read that. But that's the situation and where we are now. If we look at some other factors, right? Let's look at the S&P 500. The S&P 500 technically has produced a higher high than its previous high, right? It's actually gained. It's closed above that technically. Right? All influencers are banned now until we break 100,000. No full bull again. No. Ziggy, I'm not even gonna. It's fine. Every time I read TikTok, it's always people that just come in and they say, don't brush every influencer in the same way. I'm struggling with getting in BC. I'm still waiting for confirmation of a break upwards. It's not that I don't want to invest when things are down. It's the way you can go even further down. Yeah, but this is the thing. I will say this, right? I'll say this, and this is my full warning to everyone to understand this, right? There is a chance, and I'm saying it's not impossible, but we could get to a point where it could break above this 109, hold there, and actually, if it gains above that level, the 109.6332, that there will continuously move, cause that at that point, I'll be bullish, right? That's the point I'll be bullish. A confirmation close, preferably 3 candle close, low, potentially lower time frame, verging between the 15 to, and if it closes on the 4-hour, a 4-hour 3 candle high above the 109.634, then 100% I'll be bullish. 100%. Anything below that, it is a moment where I will most probably exit if I am in certain plays. There's a few plays I'm in, right? The ones I won't exit are 4, right? Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, and Fat Cat. Those are the four that I will not be exiting because Fat Cat, I know what the next move and a push that's going to be, and the rest I have ultra long term thoughts in that way, right? Now, this is the time that I will say this to explain, right? I'm also in one sense or another, I think that these move up is going to happen. I said it for weeks. People said I was ridiculous. I'm saying that it's still a possibility to go there. There's still a chance it can go there. This is all prediction basis and speculating. No one really knows what will happen. Literally, no one really knows what will happen. I'm just going on what I'm assume is going to happen from what the data sets that I have and what is going on in the markets that I see. Now, if you look at USDT dominance, it's looking like we're following this fortunately bull flag, right? And a bull flag in this scenario is not a good sign. I'm wholeheartedly expecting this to go and test the 55-day EMA, the 5.63, which will correspond with this pumping up, most probably even up to the 103,000 level, right? Most probably. By the way, if you guys are on the Tube or X, you can actually move it forward, and you'll be more in line with what I'm talking about at that moment. Because if you join later on, it will start further back, just so you guys know, right? Now, and by the way, anyone here wants to look at my screen, is these ones there. And if you're on the Tube, please follow and all that kind of stuff. It means a lot. Was it you or Ski who said this might be the biggest bear trap in history? I said it might be the biggest bear trap in history. That was me. I said that. This bit here, I said it down here. Whatever, it's fine. All right. Everyone said I was an idiot and came and was angry with me. Man, that was an interesting time. I see why influencers disappeared. I'm in Brett from is it alt season yet? Be careful with Brett. So this is where I'm going right now. So we'll most probably see this go down, test that area there, but ultimately I expect this thing here, this bull flag aspect, right? Shout out to you know, what's it called? What's that guy's name? Crypto King. Shout out to Crypto King. He's the king of bull flags. Will most probably come and move from there. I also stated that this area around the 5.8% is going to will be a key area to hold, and it bounced off that perfectly, right? So I think this will most probably come down, test as there, possibly down to the 5.57% area of USDT dominance. People will be shouting, "Oh my God, it's this is it, we're going there," and it will probably have a mother of all turnaround and then have a breakout upwards. And I'll say this, the breakout can be massive, right? If we measure this, we're talking at around the 7.8 level, right? Yeah, 7.8, around that area, which is huge, which will be disastrous to the market. But most probably that will happen in a small movement in a direction that way. We also look at Bitcoin dominance, which is looking like this is going to go and possibly test the 57.73, which will bode well for certain levels of alts. If we see, and if we look at the smaller time frames, where is this right now? Would it go down though? That's the question. Yeah, most probably. Most probably will probably test at least the bottom of this. Most probably test the bottom of this area here around the 58.5, something like that. I think something on that level, especially with Bitcoin going up and everything else going that way. That will most probably go down to there, right? Now, we look at gold. Honestly, I think that gold has had a monstrous move, right? I think that it's done some absolutely spectacular moves. And according to what will happen tomorrow, this here, the price action of gold at this present moment is decision time. If there is a hawkish move by the Fed, then I would most probably see gold breaking out again. Most probably. Especially if there's fears of recession coming in, or if there's fears of inflation, this and the other, it's going to be very, very... do you ever look at silver? Yeah, I've looked at silver. Silver's still speculative. Don't compare it to gold. I just want everyone to understand. I'll look at silver as well. Now, the ultimate area of issue that we see, that in my humble opinion is the dollar. To me, there is every chance that this thing could break out. And that would be catastrophic for the market. But I think short term, this is going to have it's going to lose value short term. But ultimately, this thing is going to gain. This is ultimately, I think that this is going to be gaining strength, because I showed last time the market is looking. If you look at previous cycles, again, I don't really like doing this, but I'll do it anyway, right? We've seen, tops appear every time it's tapped this level. So we could see this is moving back up, especially if we start seeing, if we start seeing issues appearing in the market. And the main area of issue that we have, the absolute main area of issue we have, is job creation. Yeah, unemployment is important, and it's showing strength, right? Unemployment is, there aren't people taking, they're not claiming unemployment at all. Things, it looks like it's less than it's expected. But I'll say this, right? Sometimes there is a delay between the two. Sometimes you get to a point where people who are in jobs have savings. Some, they go to the places where sometimes they don't want to claim unemployment. There is this delay between the two, and the fact that job creation is on a 6-month downtrend, and in November there was only 5,000 jobs created, which is insane. Think it this way: what was estimated this year, right, is 35% lower than the actual number. So the amount that was expected was 760,000, something on that level, job creation. And what actually came out was on like 300,000, 380,000. In 2010, the estimated the job creation was 390,000. So we're in a very peculiar place right now, and the only reason why the market is, the Fed is cutting, because they wouldn't cut. I promise you, right? If they didn't see the headwinds coming in the unemployment sector, they wouldn't cut. Why would they? There's no need for them to cut. And this is a situation of where we are right now. I don't have a job and I'm not collecting unemployment. You're correct. This is the thing. There's a stigma attached to unemployment. And I'll say this, right? The unemployment, unemployment is a last resort for most working folk, right? It's the last rate hikes tomorrow. Imagine. Imagine. Imagine there was a rate hike tomorrow. Oh my lord. Oh man. I would instantly go off being live. I would just, I don't think I could take the hate. I don't think I could deal with it. Because they're gonna blame someone, and I have full control over what Powell does, right? I don't think I'll be gone for a month. So I'd be like, I'll see you guys later. It's a pleasure knowing you all. I'll see you. It's good knowing you. Fair enough. Is it a bull run or a bear run? I think short term bullish movement, and medium term bear to unbelievable bull long term. Unbelievable. I think we're going to be in a two year 1 second. Hmm. 1 second. All right. Did they already post it? All right. One sec. All right. There's something launching that's it's gonna be quite something for sure. One second. All right, cool. Sorry. A few things that are going on at the moment. This is how much I check. Can you repeat this? Said about being a bull. What someone asked me a question. I didn't hear it. You can ask me again. Does Japan having a ratio rate cuts like we do, like it's 87%? Yeah, there's a 67% that they're going to hike interest rates on the 19th. Now, I'm just saying, look, let's see what the 4 hour is doing actually. I mean, technically, we've had a close. We've had a close of on the previous high, right? On the 4 hourly, but damn, have we? That's a third attempt. Asia might do a little floozy with us, you know. The 2 hour close. I think at least a test. I think we might go down to the 91, 92, around the 92 level before we run tomorrow. Anyway, um, 1 second. No, it's not that. It's just trying to pass this key level that it needs to gain above, right? I mean, like you can see it. It's yeah. Anyway, Ether is looking very good, right? Honestly, right now, I'm gonna be playing it short term, right? Even though in the pro trading group, I just, I'll tell you this, right? I'll tell you this, right? Sometimes because I'm trying to preserve my community's capital, I try to be careful on taking risk because I'm more risk averse, right? I have the ability and the scope to do so, and because of that, I cut my risk profile a little bit, and I did that today, and it's so typical. It's so typical. Like I saw it, the market structure, the price action looked perfect, and the market makers did a bit of a play, an absolute play, and I was like, all right, okay, I feel like I don't want to like make my community go full risk, and I said, okay, you can get out. And the moment I said that, it pumped. The moment I said it, I was like, you guys are just having a laugh with me. Anyway, like, whatever. So yeah, look, it's pulling back at the moment. We couldn't even get above the 93.8, which is worrying. Second. One second. All right, there's something here that I'm gonna need to buy. 1 second. Should I show you guys? Nah. Can't show you guys. Should I show you guys? How much do you guys? 1 second. Can I even see it? No, it's not even out there. Damn. Up or down Zcash? It could be. There's a potential that it can go up and down. I think that there is a high chance that it can go up and down. Can you please have a look at Ethereum? Yeah, looks like. Let me have a look. Brett prediction. If you like Brett, go for it. Right. Now, where are we? Let's going through. What was I going through? All right. Okay. So now, if we look at also the VIX, it's sensing some level of volatility coming into the market, right? We need to be sure that there's a clear cut stabilization of the VIX, which is the volatility index, right? And where we are at this present moment, good answer. Yeah, I'm just making sure. I'm always right. That we need it to be settling around the 15, ideally between 14 and 15 is where we want to be, and it's sensing some level of volatility to come into the market depending on the rate cuts. I will say this, right, and this is something you guys need to be also clear, right? 1 second. Sorry. Do you short and long at the same time? Yeah. Is that it? Where was I? Sorry, just work at the same time. Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyway, so that's that situation where we are now. If we look at the man, I love how these things happen on my live, as I said it. Yeah. Anyway, so if we look at the total market cap, right? I gave a level that it needed to surpass the 3.15, which technically it has, right? Technically it has, and it's looking to try and find support at this level. I can't hear anything with all that typing. Hey, it's good quality keyboard, right? When a keyboard is at maximum quality, you hear it, right? It's like if you also when you pick it up, the weight is like some quality to that keyboard. Now, yeah, this level that I marked out is at that 3.15. But look, man. I don't want to. Like, I don't want to say it. But this is giving me sketch vibes, man. This giving me real sketch vibes at this present moment. But we'll see. What? Sorry. 1 second. I'm just trying to. Wow. I'm sorry. I'm just messing around with people. 1 second. I need to check something. Bum, 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 bum. 1 second, guys. Just work has just popped up. Why does everything happen on my life? What the hell? I software dev. No, I do know some mad software devs though. Damn. Well, okay. So, yeah, this token's gonna be big. Damn. Cool. So, yeah, so the coin is just launched. I can't tell you anything about it because it's a secret launch. What was I saying? Okay. Are we in the bear market? We'll see on the confirmation of the next. Sorry, I just went to work mode there for a second. I completely disappeared into like. I believe I can't talk about it. I'm under NDA. I can only talk about it when I'm allowed to talk about it. But yeah, so look, where we are at this present moment is this. Right, is yeah, look, we haven't even been able to confirm above the 3.15 trillion on the has Alvarez told us about the coin? No, I haven't said anything yet. Jesus, I said I'm under NDA. Oh my god, you guys is hilarious. Give it, give it, give it. Give it. I can't yet. Look, there's a lot of things going on in the background. I can't. I'm not allowed to. Genuinely, I'm not allowed to. I wish I could. I wish. Otherwise, I have to show you something. Man, you know what, Artemis? Show me. Show me. You told me you have 3 wives, right? So I need to understand why. Why? You look great today, as usual. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. What are you going to show me? Because I want to understand how you have 3 wives. It's really important for me to understand this. One second. I need to ask someone. What's the guy's name? Mm. One second. This is how much I care about you guys. Like I'm in the middle of work. Like this work's happening right now. I'm on live with you. 1 second. All right, cool. Is it? I can't read that. Can't read that. Where was I? Damn, that's a launch. Jesus. Anyway, what was I talking about? So, what was I talking about? Yeah. So look, I mean, yeah, we're getting rejection of that point. I mean, I called it on the live. So if you guys were here sitting and looking at what I was doing, you can actually you should see what was going on. Pump tomorrow when they cut, and I don't know if they will pump. I really don't know if they will pump. We'll see. We'll see what on the retest of the. I would not be surprised if this thing doesn't come and try and test the 92, 91.5. We'll see. Now, where was I? If we look at the total 3, which is basically the ones that you all really care about, to be honest, no one else cares about anything else. It's looking weak. It's still looking weak, right? It's underneath the trend line. It's underneath a key moving average. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, but no, Punk, I'm not. You are awesome. Keep teaching, brother. I appreciate it. That's very kind of you. So yeah, we're at this situation right now where I don't know if we're going to pump. I mean, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens, right? Now, the one thing that I want everyone to understand is that there is a key correlation between the Russell 2000 and Bitcoin, right? And now we need to be careful here because Bitcoin and the Russell 2000 are correlated, and then on top of that, our altcoins are correlated to Bitcoin, right? It's this combination that goes through all of the what's going on here? Yeah. So it's that key correlation between the two. Now, what's happening at this present moment is that it looks like if there is a breakout of the Russell 2000, right? If we see a breakout of this key level that we're sitting at, and it looks like it might happen, you will see an almighty pump in Bitcoin. What was that? Why did that work? And that there alone will be everything, right? Yeah, it's a triple top, but the way that usually it works is that it'll probably come back down and have another attempt, and at that attempt it will break through. There's usually 3 touches to a break of resistance. So let's see what actually happens at this moment here, because we are getting a pullback at that moment, but I still think that there could be. I would not be surprised if there's some push into the rate cuts tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see what happens on that side. Now, a few more things I wanted to show you, and then I will head off into the wilderness, as there's a party happening downstairs, and I'm really feel like I want to join that. Should I join it? 1 second. No. Yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, cool. Yeah, all right, cool. Now, what else do we want to talk about? Is there any particular coins you want me to look at before we go from there? And I can then head off and see the monkeys. Also on X, I would highly appreciate it if you guys could retweet the live. That would mean a lot. Cool. All right. Sol. Let's look at Sol. Yeah, keep an eye on that. Also, see, when you pick both sides, this ETH Bitcoin chart, right? It's a Bitcoin pair. You see that. What do you think of tomorrow's rig? Any beta? I only give beta. Now, this movement that we see, that this breakout upwards, it's showing that the alts are going to be gaining some strength, hopefully, as we move along, right? Especially against Bitcoin. So these movements up in Bitcoin are only going to bear well for altcoins, and especially Ethereum. And I think Ethereum, there is this acceptance now that I'm seeing, right, in Ethereum, where institutions are now seeing that as the next gold rush, right? There is an expectation that this new age of cryptocurrency is going to be run on Ethereum, and that there alone will be everything. That there alone will play the key factor of whether that thing is going to go to the next level or not. And I genuinely think that in this next run that happens, this towards the May period, I think that's going to be one of my the key players. And honestly, I think at that point there, I think I might take some profit on Ethereum when we get to that level. Genuinely, I really do think that there's going to be some crazy moves happening on that side. So now let's look at Sol, especially in regards to Bitcoin, and it's still not great, right? We are getting a somewhat of a bullish chart structure here, right? There is a bit of a bullish chart structure that's developing here, which ultimately get to a point where this thing will break out. So it's looking okay, but I wouldn't say it's looking super duper strong. Although I will say this, right? these type of movements where there's a deviation from a break of support like this, and usually is met with some form of aggressive upward movement, usually, right? And this is the thing that I would say to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on this Sol Bitcoin relationship, because there's going to be a point where Sol will play on that side. Now, if we also look at something else here, oh, that's not what I want. Here we go. If we look at Sol in itself, we're seeing also something similar in that level, right? We're seeing that if Sol can regain, and we're on, as I said, look, I mean, you see it many times. I've said this to you many times. We have 1, 2, 3, and we're coming into the 4th attempt. I would not be surprised if we see some form of a breakout in Sol coming soon. The one thing I don't get, though, and I don't know if this was the good move to do, but this collaboration between Solana and XRP, I don't know where this came from. Genuinely, I don't understand where this collaboration came, but I don't know if that's going to be a positive or not for the market. That's what my worry is. But I still do think that there's going to be a form of breakout in this very, very soon. Very soon. Like, we've tested that point multiple times. Although if we look on the 5-day and maybe on the weekly as well, yeah, it is creating a bearish order block here, which could mean that it could test this low here first before it rallies. $144 is key. If it can't regain that, then this thing is most definitely going to go and test the levels, the lower levels of 95,000 level. Anything else? Right, next. One more. Actually, two more, and then I'll beg you guys a do. A do. Ondo. Yondo. Right, let's look at Ondo. The problem I have with Ondo, right, as much as I like it, as much as I like the tech and everything else, it's so inflationary. It's so inflationary. I think that there's at one point or another. By the way, let me look at on YouTube. Is there any super chat requests? Anyone that's a super chat that wants to request? Anyone that's a member? Yeah. Also, from now on, and I want everyone to also understand this, right? I get a lot of people reporting my live, right? So I'm going to, from most probably Thursday onwards, I'm going to be doing lives that are going to be somewhat restricted behind a membership thing, right? It'd be very small, right? I will keep it at a really, really small amount, just to say if anyone wants to actually talk, they'll have to be in that thing, because we get things like this, for example, right, where people will keep spamming on the live, and if it continues, I'm actually just going to close the TikTok, because that spamming there continues on to them reporting my live. So there we go. Now, if we get to the there we go. See, do you understand what I mean? In fact, yeah. All right, guys. Look, I appreciate you on the TikTok, and I will catch you guys later on the TikTok. On the other side, I'm gonna be continuing on. If you guys want to catch it, it's here or here. All right. Appreciate you on TikTok. I'll catch you guys later. Right. So for you guys that are still here, because I can't deal with TikTok. Everyone gets super toxic when I say things like that. Now, where we're sitting at this present moment is this, right? Is that if we look at Ondo, it looks like there's still a bearish order block going on a somewhat longer term move, right? Short term, it's looking like it wants to break out, but it still hasn't been able to break its previous high, and we're still in this downward trend line, right? We're still here. We still haven't been able to break that trend. Although, again, you'll see a lot of these this price action happen where we're in this this chart pattern, which usually ends up with a breakout, right? So we will most probably come and test key levels, 0.60. At maximum, we will probably come and test the 0.77 level, right? I don't see it. I would say more the 0.7 level. Around that area there will be an area where we will probably test on Ondo. Anything else? Anyone else from the stream that can see that? What are you guys Bitcoin. I looked at Bitcoin. I've talked about Bitcoin. You guys can see the recording from that point on. Anyone from X or anyone from the tube who wants to see ask any questions about what we want to look at. By the way, if you are on any of those platforms, if you want to see it closer, you can actually move the progress bar. You'll be more in touch with the time period that we're going in. Floki, sure. Let's have a look at Floki. I don't think I've looked. I'm assuming Floki pumped like crazy today. Let's have a look at Floki. Maybe not. Maybe not. Look, I'll say this, right? I'll say this. My worry with all of these tokens is that I would not be surprised if we don't get a move up, right? Because we are closing above previous highs. That previous thanks for your time and sharing your thoughts. Of course, it's just a less toxic environment in X and YouTube, which is a weird thing to say. You know what I mean? We're in X where everything is super duper toxic. But look, we are closing previous highs above previous highs, right? So this should show continuation, especially if it can hold above the 5216 level. If it goes there, this will most probably rally up, and I would say, yeah, rally to the 0.549. But I would be careful because the price action of this is really, really bad. One thing I will say is this: every single one of the charts that you see this wick, right? That there is not a nice place to be, right? I would not be surprised if that's not 50% of the would that be 50%? Oh my god. There we go. Yeah. Most coins will take out 50% of that wick. But due to the price action that we're seeing at this present moment and the way that things are going, I am suspecting some foolery going to happen in Asia. Because when you see a wick on this type of standard, it usually gets to a point where it will test this bottom level here and then deviate underneath and then take off from there. So we will see. That was the 10th of October. Yeah, I know. But these type of wicks are there are inefficiency wicks that will come and get tested again, right? They will test those moments again. It's happened many times before. You see it happen there, and it rallies from that point. It happened there, it rallies from that point. You see it over and over and over again, right? It will come and retest those zones again when you get wicks like this. And that's the thing. I don't see why it would not do it this time. Yeah, almost all tokens have that wick. That's the worry. That's why if we do get that move, which it looks like it's going to do, we'll most probably come and tap a local level of resistance, an area where there is. And you know how you know where you can see real resistance, right? Do you want me to tell you how you can understand where those are? I'll give you a bit of a lesson to this, right? So you guys can spot where there's real, where a resistance level is valid or not, right? Usually you go into the smaller levels here. If you see, usually around the hour, let's look at the hour line, right? If you see at minimum 3 consecutive candles, right? If you see 3 consecutive candles and a close of that candle, that there is usually a key level of support. See, look, you get 1, 2, 4. That there is a very, very important level of support. If it breaks that thing is going down hard, right? And the higher the time frame you get, the more strength that is. Look, 3 levels of green means that there is a very, very strong support or resistance depending on what's going on. So if the chart comes back down, and tests that there will be most probably a strong level of support. Areas that don't have that only have a couple of candles to it, like for example this one big candle, I would not hold that at greater importance than one that has at least 3 levels of candle closes. So that is a far more important level or support level than what that will be. So that's how you look at it, right? That's how you find your key levels of support. Here, look, 1, 2, 3. This level of support here is very, very important. All right. And if we bring that to there, you see, boom. You see how important it is? Do you see how you can? I didn't even look at that set. I just saw it here. 1, 2, 3 level of support. Bam. There we go. Holds it exactly. And you see why that is such an important resistance level or a support level, depending on which side of that run will be. Likewise, if you go into the bottom, it's the same way here. You see the importance of that level, how it plays off those levels here. Like you go here, boom. See how important that is? I didn't even look. Across. And you see how important that level is. It came in, tried to test that level, couldn't hold it, multiple levels of contact, and it rejected from that point from there. All right? Anything else? Anything else you guys want to do? But I'll say this, look, I mean, we are seeing some really interesting, like a lot of price action. You can see that market makers are all over this market, right? Because you see things like, look, we see a perfect V-shaped recovery, and then we're seeing higher levels as they go up, and this thing should continue. This thing will most probably find support around this 5.026 level. Almost all tokens have that wick. Yep. Fat Cat, I can't look at Fat Cat on here. Midnight Coin, I don't even know what Midnight Coin is. What is Midnight Coin? It's a good launch. My God. What's Midnight Coin? Is it even on here though? Is it just launched? Is it this one? Midnight? Night? Is it this one? I'm assuming it's this one. What do you want me to do with this, man? What do you want me to do with this? I don't see. What do you want me to do with this? Like, what am I supposed to do with this, man? There's all right, all right, I'm gonna tell you what I could do with this. All right, okay, here we go. All right, so technically, if you really want to look at the mechanics of this coin, this could either, and check this out, it can either go up or it can reject and go down. That's what this shows showing. All right, is that enough? I think I'm almost certain that this will go either up or down. Almost. There you go. All right. Let's see if I'm right tomorrow. Let's see. Let's see how right I am tomorrow. Okay, cool. That was a fantastic Calvin Hill analysis. Yeah, I mean, what you want from me? This is what it launched today. Did this launch today? It launched today. What do you want from me, bruh? What do you want from me? All right, I can say this. Usually, God, honestly, right? Usually, what you will see, right, is it bearish or bullish? It's I would say short term bullish to medium term bearish, and then somewhat medium to long term bearish, and then mega bullish, right? Um, Usually what you let me just do this the other way around. Got it. Right. What will happen most of the time is that it will get a pullback into because these things are launched with market makers. It has to be. There's no way that they kind the actual graph will work with the volume and all this kind of stuff. So what usually happens, and I'll give you this little bit, and then I'll head off to the party downstairs. Right, is this you will most probably get a pullback into the 618. It's usually the case where it goes. Sometimes it goes to the 786, but that is on smaller cap coins that don't have a lot of liquidity to them. But the larger liquidity coins will usually pull back at least and come back into the 618. What happens from that point on is that there is almost, in my humble opinion, don't listen to what I'm talking about. I'm just a guy in the sky bunker, right? A test of the 50% level. It's very, very rare that you will not get that test of the 50% level. So potentially this has a chance to gain and test that 50% level. What it does from there will dictate whether this is going to go. I mean, is it happening in front of me? It's actually happening in front of me. God, if this happens in front of me, that'd be hilarious, right? Usually we'll go and try and test that zone there, right? And then what the reaction from there is going to be everything. Will it have a further retrace? Because if we if we look at this wick as we see, it's already. I mean, it's going to test that 50%. We will see what happens from that point on. It's going up now, though. Don't buy it. I'm not saying it's going to go. Just honestly. But yeah, anyway, look, that's that situation. Look, also, one more thing that I'll say to everyone that's here that I would highly recommend that everyone does, and I would appreciate it a lot, is if you're on the tube or not, you go follow there, because all the links and everything else that actually have any level of relevance is there. There's the Mexi level link, which is 0% trading like fees. There aren't many out there that have that level of fees. I've made sure that I've done a deal with Mexi where they will only they will take all the most people who provide these links actually get a commission. I don't do that. I feed it back into the platform, where you will see majority of all these leverage trades that you play will say 0% on it, right? Which is a huge thing, right? Absolutely huge. If you want to go and also join our absolutely free community, right? You go to where the live is. You can see it on X or on the tube. I think everyone on X should go and check this out as well. Go down here, go click onto the more, and you can go to the links. Click on that. What will open up is the learn by this aspect here, and you will get to the learn by Alvarez here. You click on that, and it's our free community. You guys can go in there. It's a beginner friendly, pro friendly, everything friendly. There is no level of FUD. I don't allow anyone to feel fear in there. You can ask whatever question you want, but I will say this. I'll say this wholeheartedly. What you need to do is understand that I will never message you, because the moment you go in there, people will start messaging you with my name. And that's, if you want to talk to me, I'm always available there, literally always available there. You will see I'm in the groups. I chat, I talk to everyone, and at that point, if you want to talk, you message me from that message. Don't believe anyone that messages from that point on. All right, okay, guys, absolute pleasure. If there's no other questions, we can move on from there, and I will catch you guys later. Right? Let me wait for 2 seconds if there's any other questions. If not, I'm going to be shooting off. Yeah. All right. Cool, love, affection, all that kind of stuff. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Let's see what's going on. And I will catch you guys later. Bye, 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 bye.